if this was going to be a conversation that could set you free,
Hmm.
where would we need to go
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm starting to see something that I hadn't seen before just right now around that freedom thing, which I've never really explored too much. And maybe we can dig into that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's check that out then. So let's see here. What about freedom right now is really calling to you?
Well, I mean, there's something about being restrained or feeling like I'm holding back that I've wanted to give to other people. And I think I've always been trying to give to other people, but I haven't been giving to myself. And it's not just in the children with, the CF patients, it's also in the people who, even before I became a coach, I was always known as a person to go to for advice or for connections or things like that. And I'm feeling into this element of like, if I couldn't have what I wanted, I was going to make sure other people get what they want. Like I was put on the earth to suffer so that other people could have what they want. And that's not right. And that's not the right mentality. So my freedom's more important. I need to be more important than other people's. It's like the serve versus no. I was thinking about service versus pleasing. I don't think that's right either.
Yeah, it's more like it's like suffering
Yeah, yeah,
versus what?
yeah. Yeah. Freedom. I mean, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I think you and I have had this conversation about Buddhism and how I believe a lot in the balance activity. The balance and the Eightfold Path, and about balance is so important. And suffering is not the way to do it. And unfortunately, through most of my life, I did a lot of this internal suffering. And I'm continuing to, even as I heal, I still continue to see those patterns of suffering.
And then let me just ask you here. Thank you for going here and for
Mm-hmm.
being in this space here. What is what has choosing a life of choosing to believe that you're put on this earth to suffer so people can get what they want? What is that? How has that benefited you over the years?
It hasn't. It hasn't. And in fact, it's been quite the opposite. And I don't think my head quite understood this because it was thinking like, oh, well, because I'm giving my all and giving everything I can, other people can have a better something, better life, a better whatever. But in reality, if I'm not around or not able to be at my best or to be optimal, then I can't serve. I can't be.
Even that still feels a bit like you at your best and your optimal. It still feels like when I think about that, I'm like it feels like there's an undertone of suffering in there where it's like rather than just allowing yourself to simply be, you have to be at your best, you have to be optimal.
Yeah. And here we come back to that where we began, right? And I said earlier that I still struggle with the being aspect because doing and being is something that is always at odds for me.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go back to this here. Like, I'm going to ask this question again in a different way here. you've
Yeah.
chosen a life of suffering. I'm using your words here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
By using it, but you've chosen that you're here to help people, and the path that you chose was suffering.
Hmm.
My question for you is there is some benefit of it. You're a very smart person, you know,
Hmm.
like what is the benefit, the gift of choosing to go down the path of suffering for you? What did you get as a result of going down this path?
So now that I think of it, it's actually a lot. I mean, there was a lot of downside for sure, but I've also learned a lot. I've learned a lot of lessons. And because of those lessons, I am who I am today.
So let's slow this down a little bit, right? Because right
Mhm.
now we're missing it.
Yeah.
Tell me three gifts of choosing the
Yeah.
path of suffering. And if you need me to
Yeah.
give examples of things like that, I can do that. But I want to make sure we're.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you gain from this year? Like it was, it, this in some way, shape, or form, it kept you safe. In some way, shape, or form, it's helped you to live a life where you've been able to make the impact that you already have. In some way, shape, or form, it's brought you into this conversation with me. There've been some
Yeah.
things that have come from choosing this path. So I want to make sure that we understand what it's getting you, so that if we choose any other paths, we can choose. We make sure we don't lose what suffering has given you so far.
Absolutely. And so I'll start with one of the most obvious ones, and this is the one that will come off a little bit weird because you think this is a very positive one. Very positive. I would deal with discomfort well. I would get uncomfortable more often than most and deal with that discomfort positively. And now I see that as a real plus. It's allowed me to see that by getting uncomfortable, I'm able to create situations where I learn more, I feel more. So there's one thing. The other thing is being able um, to know the signs and symptoms of when things are going awry. Because I've seen the dark sides of my gifts, and I know now where they kind of can go off the rails. So
One
I
more.
guess
What,
the
like, yeah.
third one,
Why do you think you kept yourself suffering for so long? And what is that? What's that secret,
yeah,
dopamine that it was giving you?
yeah. And in some ways, it felt as though this was what I had them in my mind that this was putting it all out there. It was
Tell me what that
me
means.
fulfilling. This was me fulfilling my mission that I was meant to burn out, and not meaning burnout like as in like I'm burning out, but more like to burn my candle out so that other people could have what they needed. It's not a gift, but that was the thought. But now I see that differently. I see it as you have to stay lit longer so you can have you can really get your gift out there. So
We're just getting started. Click on the link below to watch the full conversation and go to niyamaashan.com/tribe to get additional resources and exclusive invitation to tribe-only events. Journey on.